on, Bengals fans? Stone Shields on hand for another edition of Bengals Breakdown, and it is time for mandatory minicamp to get underway here in Cincinnati. And coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down 5 top storylines that I've got my eye on as the Bengals embark upon mandatory minicamp. Getting started today, it's going to last a few days, and I think there's going to be plenty of takeaways that we can get from this mandatory minicamp, and a lot of it's going to be open to the media. I believe the whole thing actually is going to be open to the media, so we're going to have plenty of stuff to talk about here at the channel. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Do not miss any of our minicamp videos here at the channel. We'll have them all week long, and we'll have coverage for you guys as well, all off-season long, all preseason, all regular season as well. You don't want to miss out. Hit that sub button for me right now, youtube.com/BengalsTV. And just a little heads up, I am doing a little solo producing here on today's video. So if you see me look down, whatever the case may be, just trying to do multiple things here at once as we progress through today's show. All right, first storyline is this. Will Trey Hendrickson show up? And guess what? I've got the answer for you guys. No, he's not going to show up. Look, I don't know that for certain, but I would be absolutely, totally shocked if Trey Hendrickson did show up for this mandatory minicamp. Obviously, he is in the middle of a massive contract dispute right now with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's looking to get paid top-of-the-line money at that edge rusher spot. Obviously, he deserves it considering the 17.5 sacks he's put up on the board the past 2 seasons. Obviously, him and the Bengals not seeing eye to eye here, and he's gone with a really unorthodox route when it comes to trying to get this contract from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Shemar Chase, of course, was in a contract dispute with Cincinnati last year, and he ended up showing up to mandatory minicamp, but he just sat there. He didn't do anything. Is this a possibility for Hendrickson? Maybe, but I would be quite surprised if this were the case, right? It's a little bit different. Shemar, of course, was in the middle of his rookie contract. Hendrickson, a veteran player. He's been around the block. His situation really is totally different than what Shemar Chase was dealing with last offseason. So I would be shocked if Trey Hendrickson showed face here at this mandatory minicamp for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Zach Taylor said, hey, you're going to get fined if you don't show up for this. He was warned. Obviously, that kind of made headlines, right, when Hendrickson went out and spoke to the media at a practice. And, look, Trey Hendrickson, the situation with the Cincinnati Bengals, it doesn't appear to be getting solved anytime soon. But as we've talked about here at the channel, there are people around the league that do believe this will ultimately get done with Cincinnati. The matter of when is obviously the question at this point. He's looking to land himself on this list, probably right up there with Danielle Hunter, around at least that $35 million range. And Cincinnati's offer, of course, was reportedly $28 million. We'll see if the two sides can come together. Pin comment time here on today's show. Will Trey Hendrickson miss games in 2025? We've kind of gone back and forth on this here at the channel. And to be honest with you, it's still my opinion that I don't think he will. He's just too much of a competitor. He's got that, dog mentality in him, right? He loves to go out there and compete on the football field. If it came to it and his teammates were out there playing and he was sitting there, still didn't have a deal, I think he ultimately would sign the deal or just play under his current deal right now and get out there and play football. But that's just my way of thinking. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of today's show. Now, as of filming here, we're actually filming this the day before, here on the 9th, before this mandatory minicamp gets underway. But Shemar Stewart's contract is still unsigned at this point. Now, there's been some rumors. Stewart posted a picture to his Instagram story with his jersey with the pads on. A lot of people speculating, hey, does that mean that he's going to be ready to go for mandatory minicamp? We'll see. But as of now, Shemar Stewart is still on the sidelines here, and he has missed all of these voluntary, but still these workouts, these organized team activities with the Cincinnati Bengals, and that obviously is massive, right? It's been well documented. The stats in high school, or in college, the production in college, not where it needed to be for Shemar Stewart. It was a risky pick that Cincinnati took a player like Shemar Stewart that early in the NFL draft, and now he's not even practicing, going through all the meetings, all that stuff, but in the middle of a contract dispute. Apparently, the Bengals trying to change the language of their contracts with these rookies, and this would be like the first time they are doing it. Shemar Stewart's case would be the first time, and obviously Stewart and his team are not too thrilled about that, and ultimately they are looking for different things to happen there as he's looking to get out there, sign his contract, and be more protected is really kind of the issue. He's worried that if he signs the offer that Cincinnati has, that he isn't as protected as much as some first-round picks in the past. Now, I do kind of want to parlay this whole situation with Shemar Stewart to this next storyline that I've got my eye on here, and that is Joseph Ossai and Myles Murphy, right? You've got uncertainty there with Trey Hendrickson. You now have uncertainty with Shemar Stewart as well. These two guys, Ossai and Myles Murphy, have a massive mandatory minicamp on the horizon for them, and, of course, training camp in preseason as well, because these guys got to get going, right? Particularly Myles Murphy. He was your number one pick a couple of years ago, back in 2023, and Ossai, he's on a one-year prove-it deal, right? It was kind of my way of thinking that, hey, Joseph Ossai, his time here with the Cincinnati Bengals would be coming to an end, and they would be moving off of him, but he comes back, one-year deal, $7.5 million, and he did put up 5 sacks last year. There's some question marks on, how difficult it was for Ossai to make those sacks, kind of when the sacks occurred as well. But at the end of the day, 5 sacks is 5 sacks, and in the NFL, that obviously is a good thing to have. Now, Myles Murphy, take a look at that. His 13 games played, didn't have a single sack and only 1 tackle for a loss and 20 tackles. He has been a massive disappointment for this Cincinnati Bengals football team since he was drafted. Now, obviously, you've got new leadership there on the defensive side of the football. Obviously, Al Golden is your DC, but new leadership on your defensive line as well, right? Jerry Montgomery coming in from the Green Bay Packers to be your new defensive line coach. Can Montgomery get the most out of Myles Murphy? We'll see. Cincinnati certainly needs him to be better, and it's going to be a massive, massive minicamp for those two guys with the uncertainty surrounding Shemar Stewart and the uncertainty, of course, surrounding Trey Hendrickson as well. Now, we are approaching 19,500 subscribers here at the channel. Help us out. We're about 281 subs away from making that happen. So don't miss out on any of our coverage here at Bengals Breakdown by Chat Sports. Trying to get to that 20K mark, obviously, is our next big goal here. So help us out. Hit that sub button for me if you haven't done so already. Probably been waiting for us to talk about this, the guard battle. Obviously, something that we will have a close eye on here. Now, it is, mini camp. It's not training camp. Preseason, obviously, is not here yet. So we're not going to get a full tell necessarily on what's going on at that guard spot. But it will be interesting to see how the starters move around throughout the course of this mini camp over the next few days, right? We've seen so far during the voluntary stuff, the organized team activities, that it has been Lucas Patrick and it has been Dylan Fairchild at that starting guard spots for Cincinnati. But there's going to be lots of other guys that are going to get a ton of work for this football team along their offensive line, right? Obviously, Cody Ford, Jackson Kirkland, Cordell Volson are really the names to monitor there as well. And I don't think anybody really is out of this competition, right? Dylan Fairchild is the perceived frontrunner for this role, but, he is a first-year player, right? He's a rookie. He's a third-round pick. Obviously that is the goal for Cincinnati, to have him go out there and be the guy for them week 1, but you don't know how he's going to progress. It might take him a little bit longer to get up to speed. Lucas Patrick was a guy that's kind of been a bit of a journeyman here in the NFL. He's bounced around the league a little bit, and Cincinnati apparently views him as a starter, right? They kind of got him at the tail end of free agency. Obviously, there isn't really an end to free agency, but it was a couple of weeks after things had really gotten going there. Bengals bring in Lucas Patrick. You've heard Duke Tobin speak really highly of him, and you've heard Zach Taylor speak really highly of him as well. He hasn't been like a bona fide starter in the league for a long time, but he obviously has gotten spot duty there starting in the NFL, and I would say he's kind of the front runner for that right guard spot. But make no mistake about it, Jackson Kirkland, in my opinion, is kind of the dark horse here in this battle. He suffered a season-ending injury very early on. I believe he only played in 2 games last year for the Cincinnati Bengals, but had a really strong showing in preseason, was able to vault his way onto the roster, made the football team, then suffered that injury. I think he is a key player here at that right guard battle that nobody seems to be talking about here at this point. What is your confidence level in the Bengals offensive line? Let me know. I thought last year was the best offensive line that Joe Burrow had had in his career, but far from good enough, right? Joe Burrow took a lot of punishment, as I've said here. A lot of that has to do with the way Burrow plays, right? Joe Burrow likes holding on the ball as long as he can, trying to extend, make plays, and that's going to garner a lot of hits and some sacks. We'll see if he changes his play style. Also, the kind of play style that Cincinnati has, they love to go 5 wide, spread everything out, right? There's only so many protections that you can run as an offensive line when you're running that many plays with 5 wide. And obviously, given the nature of the 2024 season, when they were frequently down in ball games, they had to say, you know what, we can't really run it anymore. Everybody, let's spread out and let's throw it down the football field. That makes things really difficult on the offensive line. But regardless, you had a new offensive line coach in. There was a reason Frank Pollock was fired, and now you got Scott Peters And you also got some new bodies in that room as well. So let me know in the comments. Scale your confidence level in the Bengals offensive line for me right now. Let's talk corner here on today's show. This is another thing that I have a close eye on here in mandatory minicamp. What exactly are you going to do at that cornerback spot? As of now, they haven't added another corner, right? Got our fingers crossed here on the Jair Alexander front. Yeah, it's probably a bit of a long shot, but I would love to have Jair Alexander on this football team for the Cincinnati Bengals. But you're pretty much running it back with that exact room, a room, by the way, that was a massive weakness for you last year in 2024. Dax Hill's your best corner in this room, right? He only played 5 games last year before he suffered a very serious injury that ended his season. Where are you going to line him up at? This depth chart, we've got him at that nickel spot. I don't know. Is he going to be a nickel? We'll see. Shoot, we saw Cam Taylor-Britt get some reps at nickel when he picked off Joe Burrow on that little out route to Mike Gesicki during voluntary workouts, right? DJ Turner, he's coming back from a broken clavicle. What does his role look like, right? The backups are pretty much the same as well. Josh Newton, he goes into year 2. Had some good moments, had some bad moments as a rookie. DJ Ivey, he was more of a third down guy, right? He's got great length. Marco Wilson, you're bringing him back on a 1-year deal, right? So there's lots of different guys in this room that are going to be called upon and are going to have to step up for this football team. And they're flat out going to have to be better. Because if those corners roll out there and play like they did last year, you're staring in the face another season where you give up a ton of points because your corners aren't guarding well enough. Now, it's all about health there as well. If the Bengals would have had Dax Hill and DJ Turner for the entirety of the season, would they have played a lot better and perhaps won more football games? Yeah, I probably honestly think so. But this is a massive room that really needs to improve here. And we're going to be able to tell here during these workouts how this room's doing. Obviously, it's not live bullets. It's not live action. But if they're really, really struggling here through this offseason stuff, that obviously is going to be a massive concern for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I don't think it's too late in the ballgame to bring in another veteran player. We will see if Cincinnati opts to do that. Remember, they cut Jermaine Pratt. That opened up some money. Let's see how they allocate it, if that goes towards Trey Hendrickson or perhaps bringing in a new player. But this room has to be better, and I've got a close eye on this cornerback room. I'm also curious, as I mentioned, where these guys are going to line up, right? Where are these guys going to play? They're kind of all playing all different spots, moving all around the field. Al Golden's just trying to get a feel for what he has. It'll be interesting to see where things land when the dust settles. Make sure you guys give me a follow over on Twitter at StoneShields_. All of our Bengals Breakdown content will be posted to my Twitter page, and we'll have plenty of highlights from mandatory minicamp there as well. So help me out. Give me a follow over on Twitter.